of the way that you've alluded to it a little bit with your gates, but how the way we have managed and integrated our homes has changed over time. I don't know if you wanna kinda talk through
Mhm.
the
Sure.
progression of that?
Sure. Really early on, we just had one gate and said, the baby's gonna be in our living room most of the time, and the dogs can be in the rest of the house."
Mhm.
Um, and then as she got mobile, it took a little experimenting. So, like, I didn't have this, like, perfectly planned from the time she
Mhm.
was born. Um, we kind of had to figure out, like, what zones were gonna work for her to play in and what zones were gonna be comfortable for the dogs. At first, I gated them in the kitchen, and they made it clear that that was not comfortable for them. So we changed things.
Fair
So,
enough.
like, we had one of those accordion gates that we could easily move around,
Mhm.
and now we kinda have our house divided in half, which
Mhm.
it's open all the time most of the time,
Yep.
'cause Opal needs free rein to be happy.
Mhm.
Um, and she has learned, a lot of really good skills about the dogs, and she basically leaves them alone most of the time.
Yep.
Um, Louis just learned to crawl this week, so I think our gates are gonna be closed again.
Yep,
Um,
that's a big one.
because he's just what I've decided and is that when they're that little, like, there's no way I can teach a 9-month-old baby how to appropriately interact with a dog. The teaching has to be with the dogs for me for now, and so I do a lot of, like, calling the dogs away from the baby rather than getting the baby away from the dogs,
Yep.
um, just because 'cause they're faster at moving away. They're, like, more responsive than the baby.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, and so, yeah, our gates have, like, moved and shifted, and they will again, and we've just learned that with the little kids, I mean, everything changes every few months, and you just
Yep.
keep adapting, but definitely, like, Opal is freely with our dogs, like, 90% of the time. I mean,
Yep.
if I'm not in the area, then I don't I would separate them, like, if I'm
Right.
going to do Louie's nap or something, but
Right.
most of the time, they just chill, she's playing, they kind of just parallel play.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yep.
It's very similar. So I for probably the first, I think basically 6 months, they had 0 interaction really.
Same.
0.
Yep.
And I had in my house, I didn't use it all the time. I had a gate that I would just move and I basically gated off. We had an open kind of kitchen and living dining area and then a hallway that led to the bedrooms. And uh if oftentimes, frankly, I used separation when I wanted to lower my load, when I wanted less to think about or worry about, and I could just relax for a second. Like, I could leave my son on a blanket, and I could go walk over to the fridge and, not worry about anything. But for the most part, Sully, who was my dog, is my dog who has a history. She's got a snap in her repertoire. It is firmly
Mhm.
in there. Um, and she has a lot bigger feelings about where she is touched on her body. Like her tail is a don't,
Mhm.
she will let me touch her on her tail, but I don't know. I don't know how
Mhm.
she feel about a young child grabbing her tail. So the risk is so much higher with her. Luckily, she loved our backyard so much. That is where even before the baby, she wanted to spend the bulk of her time outside. If I let Otis outside, he would stand there like, "Are you coming?
Yep.
What in the world would I do with this big, beautiful yard on my own?"